Thank you for listening to Depictions Media Radio. Welcome back, everyone. And today I'm going to play a conversation I had with another fellow podcaster, Sara Troy, and you can find her at the selfdiscoverymedia.com. The name of her network is actually the Self-Discovery Network. And we had a really interesting conversation about, from our perspective, about the gifts that COVID-19 is actually giving to us. The things that we should be listening to at this time that are going to, as Sara put it, help keep us from being evicted. Evicted means, another way of putting eviction is helping keep the human race from becoming extinct. We have to change our attitudes and the ways that we are actually doing things so that we can survive as a species. And that's one of the things that's come about with COVID-19. What we're discovering is that maybe some of our policymakers should be making the policy. Maybe we should be getting more to a science-based way of coming up with policies for us to live by. And along with that comes with the idea of respecting everything that is around you, all the other beings that are around you. More and more science is actually proving that there's more cognitive beings on our planet than just simply the human being. That there are other beings out there that we neighbor with every day that have a need to be respected. And we should be respecting those sort of things. We should be respecting our resources and understanding what our resources truly are, just as citizens, and not just simply take it from the corporations and those who are developing policy. We should be more involved in our communities and helping each other out. You know, having a kind word and being more grateful for what it is that we have around us. So with all that being said, let's get to the conversation that I had on the selfdiscoverymedia.com.
Welcome to selfdiscoverymedia.com, where we discover the communities that are making a difference in the lives of others. Our self-discovery is something we are all making on our life's journey. Here you will find the people that will be your guidance, that will be your inspiration, that will be there for you in support on your journey of life. Do enjoy. Our next show is Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Choose Positive Living right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. I'm your host, Sara Troy, and my guest today is Michael Clogs. He's been here before, and we decided as fellow podcasters to do a show that's going to air on both of our platforms. You know, we're talking about the invisible lesson of COVID. What is it really telling us right now? I know everybody's just really looking at what they're giving up or what they can't do, but let's look at it as an invitation. It's a gift of time. It is something that allows us to reflect, review, renew, and come back out into life in a different way, because sure, we need to do that. Michael says that life has changed right before our eyes because of a silent, tasteless, invisible being. That being here is to teach a lesson about what it means to be connected to life in this universe. We're not standing above all others in life. We are not all important. What we are is another way of seeing particle and waves like the virus who is delivering the message. We all work together and learn to reconnect with our planet, our species, and we shall thrive in the balance of nature. If we do not, we're going to be evicted. Sara says that this is not only a gift of time to reflect, review, and renew our life's path, but also to invite to come together as a human race, all experiencing the same crisis. Mama Earth is not happy with us right now, the way we treat the planet and life on it. So consider this a warning for next time. It might be a full-on eviction. So Michael shows Depictions Media. Of course, I'm Self-Discovery Media. And, it's right now, we kind of feel it's our duty, in a sense, to kind of get the message out there of common sense, of reason, of what does this mean. We see all the time the panic, oh, the virus, it's killed some more people, and oh no, another lockdown, or do we go back to work, and the economy, we see this all the time. But let us look at the invisible message and what it really is telling us, and look at it as a way of doing things right, because as a human race we've been doing things wrong quite a while, haven't we, Michael?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you think about the large amounts of greed and just the difference between British Columbia to Alberta, and we've been fighting over things like who's going to make money off of an oil pipeline, that we're digging up the graves of dinosaurs and other beings that and burning them in our cars. It's like, how does our planet really feel about that?
Yeah. Yes, and really, what's important? Because it's not like oil is the be-all and the end-all. There are so many alternatives now that other countries have proven to be more efficient, more ecologically, environmentally friendly, and just as productive in creating profit and jobs.
Yes, exactly. There are projects out there that are being hidden away from the general public that would actually even have us sharing power. And to us here in Canada, and I'm sure we have listeners in the US also. When we talk about power, we talk about power, and we're actually talking about fuel. Because it's back to oil. Yes. It's like, but there can be power without fuel, and there's projects that we would share the power around the globe that are generated without fuel, like like gasoline.
Right. Well, Tesla, Nikola Tesla, he came up with this free energy over a century ago, and his technology is only now really beginning to be scratched and understood. And, had we actually followed his path, 100 years ago, we would be in a different state of being in the world right now, because, the greed and the power over oil has created many a war and many a divide. And really, I think what this message is right now is it's about coming together and having the entire planet all suffering the same crisis. at the same time, all getting the same message. Stay at home, wash hands, avoid contact. Do this for the time period and we will see the virus burn out. And it's a way, now of course Zoom, I've been doing my shows on Zoom for quite a while, and now everybody is Zooming around the world and connecting and putting on concerts and doing this and doing that. And we're there for each other. Well, the common man is there for each other. I'm not sure about a few other people, but, this is the invitation right now. Come and be a part of the solution.
Yeah. Well, we unfortunately, we have, I'm going to start this off again with I'm going to say this differently. Fortunately, we have some global leaders that are on board with this.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, there's some other world leaders out there that they're looking to stay with the status quo. And by staying with the status quo, they're divesting from the rest of the globe.
You're literally killing people because by ignoring this virus, which, as you say, is the silent killer, because people don't know they have it until they're in the thick of it. They could be carrying it for a while beforehand. It's not like, a lot of things that can show immediately. This doesn't. This is, could be carrying it for 2 weeks before it manifests. And how many people actually have the COVID in different levels that aren't being tested? I think it's a hell of a lot more out there that have had it or having it that can't get tested, and then maybe having it on a lower grade level so they don't have to go to the hospital. Yeah. The fact is, it is a killer, and those that deny it, those that don't just follow the simple protocol, we're not looking at taking out arms again. What is the weapon against the virus? It's masks, it's screens, it's gloves, it's garments for our first responders, right? It's getting people tested. That's the weaponry we're trying to gather now.
Yeah, and the biggest weapon, unlike any other war that we have known throughout the history of mankind, instead of taking up a sword, a gun, or dropping a bomb, we have to use our brains.
Common sense, yes.
That's it. That's our best weapon now.
Yes, I would say a heart as well. What we're seeing is the people, the true leaders right now are the people that have stepped into the heart. We're seeing companies donate $1 million or $1 billion or 100 million or 5 million. Rihanna, in her country, Barbados, she's put together 5 million, and it's taking care of people that are in domestic violence. It's provided testing, it's provided ventilators. Yeah. And, kudos to her. She's made rich off the people. Now she's giving back to the people. And I think it's going to be a huge review, isn't it, afterwards, when we look at the companies that stepped up and those that gouged and tried to profiteer off it.
Yeah. Well, you...
Sorry, I lost you.
Anyway. Okay.
Okay, I'll cut that bit out. 27.
Somebody tried to dial my phone.
Okay. Okay, continue.
Okay. Dr. Tedros of the World Health Organization invited Lady Gaga to come on a live broadcast with them because she was donating her time and her money. Mm-hmm. Look at how much you talk about Rihanna and Lady Gaga, all these great entertainers that are stepping up to the plate to donate money or to donate their time, or for those who may not have had the time, they're appearing on social media saying, look, we need to listen to our health officials and do what they're asking for us.
A lot of people think this is, it's out to get me, or the government's out to get me, you're trying to restrict me, my roots need doing, I want to mow my lawn, and it's, and we're seeing that on the news. It's like, is that important? There was a wonderful Facebook thing today. We're going to discover over these next few weeks that 80 98% of the blondes in America are not blonde. You know?
I know, right?
And it's like, embrace it. You know, the thing is, when you're looking at stars who are doing all their shows via Zoom now, they haven't got makeup, they haven't got hair, they're doing it all themselves, they're at home. We're seeing them au natural. In a lot of ways, we're seeing them like us. And so I think there's a better connection because they're not being all kind of glossed over, you know, made to look unreal. And I think that is actually going to be more invitational for people. Oh, look at her roots are showing, you know, and it's...
Yeah.
And it's a way of going, well, you are just like us, not just the TV star, you know?
Yeah. For those who have seen me on my YouTube and a few other places where I've appeared in front of a Rogers or a Shaw camera, it's like, yes, I do have gray.
I'm entirely gray.
It's like, yeah, and you look beautiful with it.
I like my color, actually. So, you know, I'm glad I did this about 3 years ago, stopped coloring. And you know, I think it's again, the priority, you know, the old kind of make lemonade out of lemons, isn't it? It's like, okay, so who's going to come up with, you know, a great fashion for the root showing, or, you know, the haircuts that aren't getting done, or who's going to come up with something? Because I did a show with Terry Walderman on the businessmen or the businesses that are feeling crucified right now, you know, for a better word, that they can't carry on, they can't do business. And the difference between the entrepreneur that says, I can't do business as usual, what can I do that, you know, that I can still be proactive with or still serve the community, that I'm still out there doing something. So a lot of it is mindset and how we choose to look at things, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And you said something really important there, that some of those big businesses now, I am going to eliminate the CEO from General Motors and the CEO from the Hilton, because they've turned their paychecks back to their employees and said, "Hey, I'm going to give it back," right? So we'll leave those set aside. But a lot of them are like, oh my God, how in the world am I going to keep making money?
Yeah.
And instead of where the entrepreneur is like, okay, you know what? Maybe I can't make the money I was doing before, but how can I serve?
Yes.
And instead of focusing on how to increase our paychecks, we need to figure out what is the best way to serve. What is it that my community really needs? And that's one of the really big things that help our global economy be built by small business.
Yes.
Because we did things the other way. It's like, right. Okay, I'll take this small step so that I serve a bunch of people and then see what happens in the end. And we usually come up with a profit.
Right. It's the future, you know, it's the public relations for the future business. My son has a restaurant, Humble Roots, in Maple Ridge in Canada. And, you know, he snapped his Achilles heel just as this was happening. And so he's in a cast and he can't come out of it yet because he can't have any therapy. So he is sitting in his restaurant where they closed the restaurant down, but they stayed open for takeout and delivery. And he's sitting there at the phone desk, you know, his leg up, you know, taking calls, and people come in one at a time to pick up and they pre-order. And he's still, you know, it actually would be cheaper for him to close down, because he's really not making any money that keeps the business alive because it's on a smaller scale. But he's doing it because it serves some of his staff to still carry on working, and it serves the community. And he's changed his hours and he's changed his menu according to what they can produce right now. And that's the thing, is what can you do? I can't do the same old. No, you can't right now. What can you do to tweak it, to change it, that benefits your community? Because when this is over, your community is going to remember that you were there for them.
And that is the bottom line here. Yeah. And we need our community. We're actually leaders in our community.
Oh yeah.
Because and by example of us not appearing in the big studio right now. I'm here in the studio in the back bedroom of my house. Instead of the big studio over in Burnaby, because we can't be there right now.
Right. Exactly. And, for both of us, it's important that we keep the message out there. Stay strong.
Mm-hmm.
Use your common sense. This we will get through. How do we get through it? I'm sure you've done shows on depression and mental health and how to build your immune system and all of that. We're still in service here. We may not be getting paid for it. That's our contribution at the present time, but we're still in service here to keep the enthusiasm, to keep the message out there and to let people know, if you don't know what to do, take a listen here, because this is somebody who's sharing their expertise. Yeah. And that's what our responsibility is right now. Keep everybody up and give them solutions that can help them, on their daily lives right now.
Yeah. One of the big things that people need right now, and we're talking about things like the depressions and things like that. Depressions push our vibration down.
Yes. And
our vibration starts to affect our pH levels, and our immune systems are affected by that pH system, and that allows the virus to be introduced into our personal ecosystem. By keeping up our vibrations, all those things, we stay healthier, and we can coexist with the virus.
Yes.
Without it attacking us.
Right. Yeah. I mean, actually, there's two Canadians that have come up with some wonderful things. One of them is it's almost like a radar machine, and it tests people's temperatures, and it can do up to 30 people at a time. So people getting on the ferries, getting on the planes, getting anywhere where there's a group, it will immediately pick up with somebody with a temperature over the regular amount, and then they can immediately suss that person out instead of the one at a time, and that is a great innovation. The other one is rather like the pregnancy test. You put the blood in the thing, and it gives you three things, I believe. One of them, it tells you whether you've had the virus or not. It tells you whether you have the ability to give blood so that they can make an antidote for the virus, and it tells you something else. But there's three things. The sad thing is, this has been used in America. It's been used elsewhere in the world, but unfortunately here in Canada, they're blocking it. And I don't understand why. Well, what if one of the tests is wrong? With the multiple, you can test people if they've already had the virus. Maybe they're part of the cure. Also, maybe they could be part of the workforce that gets back, right? So but Canadians come up with it. This was needed. And look at how many people have turned their garages into 3D printers to create masks, and how many people are actually got their sewing machines out to make masks and gowns and everything. I mean, I love the innovation that's coming out of this.
Yeah. My wife is a crafty person, and she came up with these bands that it goes across the back of your head so that the mask doesn't bite into your ears.
Oh, that's a good idea. Right, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like people are coming up with great things to help us be able to wear the personal protection and to help protect each other from what the virus can do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And again, we went back right at the beginning, common sense. When wherever you go, if you're traveling, if you're in a store, wear the gloves, right? You don't know what other people have touched. We know it's on surfaces. Wear the gloves. When you get home or wherever you are going next, take those gloves off and wash them. Still wash your hands, wash your face, right? And if you have been in an area where you think it might have been saturated, wash your clothes. And bear in mind that even the products that you've bought, you don't know if people have touched them. So if you can wash the surfaces, wash your vegetables, even if you soak them in lemon water. The thing is, as I said, as I pointed out to someone again, this isn't a war where we're waiting for the next bomb. or someone to come in with guns and shoot us, or, being taken off to concentration camps. This is something where we've been asked to stay home, to be clean, and to be sensible. And when you look at the history of pandemics, one of the reasons why they spread so quickly is sanitization was not there. Toilets weren't there, running water wasn't there, soap wasn't there, and this is the reason why it spread so quickly. Our weapon right now is cleanliness.
Yeah. Well, you're leading me back to two very famous pandemics. One, of course, is the Black Plague through Europe. The other one, the really, really, really big one, was an extinction of the great beast, the giant beaver, the woolly mammoth. It was actually a virus that actually took all those animals down, and they were all mammals. Wait a second. Aren't we mammals?
Yes.
We're animals, right?
Yes.
It's like, so we don't follow the example. How we survived the Black Plague is we learned how to treat and clean the wounds and the pustules so that the person got healthy again.
Yes. And, paying attention. There's actually a show called Fortitude. I watched this when I was in England a couple of years ago, and I've been waiting for it to come here, and finally it's here on regular TV. And it's about a place where it's just snow all the time. It's basically an island of ice, and these kids find a mammoth, and then somebody wants to dig it up and profit from it. And what's going to unravel is the fact that this mammoth had a virus in it, and that how it's going to affect the community, and nobody's putting two and two together. And so, it's kind of quite interesting is that history is always a wonderful lesson. But we stay to stand there like Stan and all go, just look back to history and learn from it.
Yes, it's exactly it. It's like we know what we need to do because it's into us through our ancestry.
Yeah, exactly. And we are, I think one of the corrections we're getting right now is, humans, do you need to go around and be as busy as you are day in and day out? Do you need as much consumerism? Do you need as much food as you consume and then waste? Do you need the next phone, the next car, the next this, the next that? Do you need all of that? Because this is what's really kind of rape and pillaging our world. Our world cannot sustain our greed. And we have really got to actually look at this. Look at the planet right now. The animals are coming out on the streets. They're coming out everywhere. The pollution, the skies are clearing up. The planet is going, oh, thank you. Thank you. I can breathe. Right? Mm-hmm. We cannot go back to business as usual. When this is all over. We cannot do that because, as I said, next time we'll be evicted. We've got to look at why did we get this virus, right? And some say it came from the bats in China. And what are they doing? They've opened up the markets of exotic animals again. Why are they not banned forever, right? So, the whole point is what are we going to do differently? Because we cannot go about the same old. And we have to have a review of our own life. It's like, do I give time to myself? Am I just chasing satisfaction all the time because I'm not looking in? I'm not finding the satisfaction within myself. And I think this is a really good time to take the time to reflect, isn't it?
It is an excellent time to reflect and really think about what really is important. It's like, do we, like you said, the excess of food, the excess of toys, right? Do we really need to? Yeah. Do we really need all those toys?
Well, of course, the next thing we're looking at is the iPhone 5, and this is causing a whole load of controversy. And it's like, do we need it? Do we need our phones to be faster? Do we need, we constantly talk about, Androids taking over. Hello, it already has. The phone that you're glued to all the time, that you can't put down, that you can't stop looking at, that you've become a slave to, right?
Yes.
It's already made you into a robot, right? It's not about looking at the robots coming out and the androids. It's making us the robots.
That is exactly it. We're becoming cyborgs.
Mm-hmm.
You're reminding me of one of my favorite TV shows. Since you brought up TV shows, is Doctor Who.
Yes.
The Cybermen.
Yes.
It's like,
yes.
How many do we walk around with earpieces plugged into our head? And that was one of the episodes. That was one of the ways how the Cybermen got started was
right.
They were plugged in. It's like to our right into our very thoughts.
Yeah. And what are we seeing now? Oh, you can put a chip in you for tracking. And
yes,
like, no way, get away with me with that thing. There was a wonderful poster that was put out that was done 100 years ago, and it was somebody's interpretation of what the world would be like in 100 years. And you've got people with headphones on talking into round things like phones, and you have things in the background that look like helicopters. And this was an artist's interpretation 100 years ago. And so, it's knowing this, and how many movies do we see out there of the cyborg, or the what is it? I always forget the name. It's a wonderful thing where a guy creates androids, for a better word, and they become more intelligent than them.
Yeah.
I can never say the word because it's not one of those titles that stays with me. But but at the same time, it is. Are we in danger of becoming that? Because we are placing so much emphasis on devices that, look what's happening with our kids. Google, Siri, they don't go and investigate or look up information like we did in the library or reading a book. It's like, just give me the information. That reminds me of not a Twilight Zone and Outer Limits, where everybody had this chip in their head. And all they, if they wanted to know something, ask the question, and the computer would give it to them. And there was one guy, the chip didn't work in his head, and he read and he wrote, and he was considered an idiot. Well, the computer that was 200 years old that nobody managed anymore went down, and he ended up being the teacher and having to teach everybody how to think for themselves, how to look up information, how to write. And, the tables turned. And I think this is the thing with everything that we're looking at today is, are we paying attention? Are we losing our humanity to all these devices and the need, I must have it.
Yeah. I guess we're coming up on almost 80 some years with since Albert Einstein in his prime. But he said a society that depends on nothing but devices and pays more attention to a screen than they do the person sitting next to them, he would show us a society full of idiots.
Yeah. Yes.
And this is the man he's the grandfather to a lot of the technology that we actually have.
Right. Exactly. And, it's just because you can invent it. The question is, should I? Just because we can do it, should we? The atomic bomb. Just because you could, should you? If it's such a mass destruction and causes so much devastation for years to come, should we? I mean, I think this is the thing. We've got to stop and think, haven't we? And go, just because we can, should we? Where is our restraint?
The theories that created of particle physics that created that atomic bomb again, Albert Einstein was part of that, and others like him, they were all part of that conversation. They fought against that bomb being created.
Mm-hmm. But again,
they knew it could be done, but
yes,
there's a way better way of doing things,
right,
than building a bomb out of that.
I mean, if you look at the last over 100 years and you look at the technology that's been put towards war and just a better way of killing each other, now you've got drones that just go over and obliterate. No accountability. You're not facing the soldier face to face. You're taking anybody out that's in its way. And, it's just become rather like a video game and no accountability for it. And it's like, if you take that same money, that same creativity, and you put it into investing into humanity, into creation, into solutions, what a different world we'll be in. Why do we still have a world where 1.5 billion people still don't have running water or toilets?
Yeah.
Let's take some of that war money and start putting it into people being able to sustain themselves and have the dignity of at least a bathroom and water, being able to plant and grow their own food. Let's re-look at our lives. And, and of course, wars have been suspended at the present moment, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Probably the first time in how long?
My brain's scanning through history, and it's coming up with, this is the first time ever.
Yes, because there's always been a war
somewhere. Since we've evolved
somewhere.
into Homo sapien, right? Yeah, there's always been a war.
Yeah.
So the virus itself, while we're sitting around and we're being afraid and we're stressing out, it's like, let's look at some of the positive things that this has actually done. It's like, it has brought us closer to our immediate families, those who actually live under the same roof as us, those who may live in in the same condo or something like that, and maybe you've come together over this as a common ground, and you have more communication with your neighbor in that way. I've seen pictures of the upstairs neighbor in Spain. He got sick with the virus, and he had to leave of course, the dog's left behind, right? The neighbor is lifting up a bowl of food up to the next balcony so that he can protect and feed the neighbor's dog.
Being there for each other, right?
Yeah.
Being there for each other. Yeah. This is what it's
amazing stories around.
Yes. I mean, just, we have here in Vancouver and BC, and I'm sure it's throughout Canada, 7:00. People are out there with their pots and pans and their sounds, in gratitude to all our forefront people, the nurses and the doctors and all the service people. We forget about the bus driver that is constantly putting themselves at risk, the people that work in the grocery stores, the truckers that have nowhere to go to eat or sleep because everything's closed down, but they're still getting products to our markets. And, never mind poor nurses and the doctors on the forefront there and the janitors and everyone else that have got to keep up for it. I think if we stepped in gratitude right now and we seriously looked at the people who are putting themselves out for us, I think it's a time for us to then go, okay, if they're sacrificing that, we don't want you to sacrifice yourself, but what we do want you to do is look at what can be your contribution. What can you do? Even if it is just helping a neighbor out with a dog or a cat or groceries or something else.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a lot of that going around. Our province put into place the 211 service for seniors so that they can call in to get help. But we as able-bodied people can call in to say, hey, is there someone in my area that I can go help?
Yes. Pick up groceries for, or walk their dog, or do something for them. Pick up their medicine for them. Because they don't want to go to the pharmacy. This is I've been saying it for a long time, that the universe was going to come and shake us up, to wake us up, for us to step up and change it up, and that something was going to happen to the entire world that was going to bring us together. I didn't know what it was. And here we are. We have never in the history of time have we had every country facing this. And we're all in it together. This is one common enemy. And the positive attitude, the high immune system, the common sense, and the being there for each other is what's going to beat it. But also that invitation for us to all unite must not go out the door when we go back to our normal lives, which there is not going to be going back to life as we know it. This is the invitation to change how we conduct ourselves in our lives on all fronts, in the future, now, forever.
I think we're headed for a grand new normal where we all uplift each other.
Yes.
Yay!
Yes.
In everything that you said in that statement, you kept saying up, up, up. Yeah. And that's what we need, is to be up and aware.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, yes, it's scary. I have a cousin-in-law who got the virus, and he was 3 weeks, in the tube in the incubator, and he's literally only just come out of it now. And finally, they've taken the tube out, put him in a different ward. He's beginning to breathe on his own. Finally, actually could say his first word. And, I'm so happy, for him. And you think of all the people that have lost their lives with no family there. They can't do the funeral. They're on their own. And it is a nasty killer, and it's killing many, many people. But at the same time, we've also got so many people living through it, coming out of it, and, being able to now turn around and help other people because of it. So this isn't a time to give in to the fear. Be aware. Again, back to the common sense. Don't go and put yourself out there vulnerably in a crowd. Don't be anywhere in a crowd. When my 86-year-old landlady and I go for a walk, we walk along the promenade where there's big wide berth, and we just keep zigzagging to keep our distance from people. And we're getting some good fresh air. Or we go for a drive with the window down. And when we're in a grocery store, we're up with our plastic gloves and with our mask. And, that's the thing. Don't give in to the fear, but please be smart about it.
Yes. I mean, there's no room for bold arrogance on this.
Yeah, well, we're seeing that. Obviously there's a neighbor of ours here in Canada where we are seeing people think it's a hoax still. Brazil, they're doing nothing, no preparation, and this already was Venezuela was already a place that was devastated anyway. We're seeing certain countries that are still ignoring this. And then we're seeing other countries where women leaders, that have literally pulled up their mama sleeves and gone, okay. And they stepped up to the plate, right, and they have far less cases. And they're already turned that curve. So if you're going to go around and say, well, it won't affect me, or it's got nothing to do with me, give me back my life, I want it, then that selfishness is going to end up killing someone, and it might just be you.
Right. Personally, I'm looking at it from the perspective of, it's like, I am grateful for what is happening, grateful for the opportunities it's going to bring, because it's going to show me the silver lining and what my new and fantastic normal is going to be.
Yes. Yes. I mean, right now we're all using these devices, and that's the thing. We're not knocking devices. Both of us use devices to do our work and to reach people. And it's not in place of human contact, although we don't have it right now as much as we would like. But it's still a wonderful gift. The internet is an incredible gift. Could you imagine the world right now? And this couldn't have been done 100 years ago with people not being able to communicate with each other. They would have gone mad. Now we have this, right, where we can Zoom or Skype or phone someone and chat with them. I seem to do text talks with my kids. I don't know. I think they just don't quite know that the phone actually goes to your ear and you can talk to someone. or Facebook. But we've been having Zoom games nights where everybody joining in. And the thing is, use these devices right now. They are a wonderful gift of connection. This is a perfect time to catch up on all those wonderful podcasts. Doesn't matter if it was about the virus or not. There is so much wisdom and information on the people that we interview. This is the time to absorb it all, because that is what's going to give you the tools and the skills to adjust to the new way of living.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you that, yes, we have, over on my end, we have been broadcasting all of the hard news, or as much of the hard news as one can possibly broadcast around what is actually happening. The messages from the government and the messages from health leaders and things like that. But on the other hand, it's like, okay, so we got all that, and if you keep feeding into that,
right,
you're just going to keep stressing yourself out. So I have messages from people like Katherine Johnson, who is a coach to help you figure out the silver lining to every obstacle you ever have. Mm-hmm. I have Karen Tyrell talking about how you can virtually get inside of the care home so that you can talk to your mom and dad who are locked down right now.
Right.
And believe me, those people desperately want to hear your voice.
Yes, desperately.
It helps them.
Yes. Yes.
And then Paula Scaper, who is an expert marketing strategist for small business, talking about how you actually need to communicate with your customers. It just means, this guy here, it does fit against your ear, and you can talk into it. and it doesn't weigh a ton, so you can pick it up and talk to your clients that you serve.
Right.
Right?
And I know I've had the pleasure. Yeah, we have addressed, around the virus, how it's affecting people's lives, how it's affecting people, maybe with their health or, their emotional state or their business. And, I've had some wonderful people. I've got Megan Edge here on the aromatherapy, building up our immune system, and how just, having a diffuser keeps the air clean and everything. And then the emergence of the total woman with Linus Woods and Dr. Shirley Neglo. And Dr. Shirley Neglo is back on again with me next week, where it is talking about which, the women leaders that have stepped up right now and how we can also find the leadership within ourselves. And Terry Wilderman, on the intuition leadership, and John North on, business or the time to write your book or how to prepare for the future. I mean, this is the thing, that all of these people are coming together and sharing their expertise with you and on what we can do right now, in the now. And if we can't generate the money because it's simply out there, but how we can still serve our clientele, because that's seeding for tomorrow. As I said, right back at the beginning, those that are serving our community right now in any which way, even if it's just seeding or reaching out to clientele and saying, can I do anything for you? I'm there for you, are going to be the people that are remembered down the road. Companies like 3M, who have put their prices up to provide masks, the profiteers are going to be companies that people won't want to deal with. So This is a time for you to step into your PR and to reach out to your clientele and just check to see if they're okay.
Right. I mean, check in with authenticity.
Yes.
And real concern for them.
Yes.
Real friendship.
Yes. Yeah, this isn't a time to say, sign up now. I know we all still need to make money. But, the thing is that a lot of people out there are not making money. And the last thing they've got is money for a course. So, all right, you can't give your courses away free. This is your platform. But what tidbits of information can you give away free right now? And then when people have got back into the money, they're going, I really enjoyed that. I'm ready to take the course now. So you've got to look at it as, the seeding and the promotion for the future, but giving people what they need in their hands right now, dealing with the situation that they're dealing with.
Yes. You know what people really, really need right now is to know that they have a friend.
Yes, you've got a friend.
Who wants to empathize with them. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know you sung too.
You've got to get up every morning with a smile on your face and show the world all the love in your heart. Yeah. I had her as my intro music there for a while, good old Carole King. And, I think going back to it's hard. This isn't a time for calculation. This is the time for your heart to step up, for your spirit to step up. This is the time for you to care and to show the kindness. However brave people are being on the surface, there's still an undercurrent in the background of, I'm doing all the things I need to do to stay safe, but that what if? I'm a bronchial asthmatic. If I get it, it's going to be very detrimental for me. But when I do go out, I follow the common sense. And I also put out there, no, COVID, you and I are not going to be friends. Don't even bother come knocking up my door. And I think that vibration out there, that I'm not going to be in fear. I'm not saying that when I'm at home sometimes it doesn't come up from behind. And, I have other ailments and they have the same symptoms as the virus. And immediately you're going to think, virus. It reminds me when the movie Jaws came out. I'm dating myself here in the mid-70s.
Oh, yes.
And I was in South Africa, and we didn't have TV then. And so when you went to see a movie, they would show little snippets of a movie to come. But what they were playing on the radio was the music. Durrum, durrum, durrum. And I went out swimming one day, and I went out a bit too far in the sea. And okay, all right, I've got to go back. But I could literally lay on the water, and I was allowing the water to kind of take me back in, resting, and all of a sudden I start feeling things swimming underneath me like this, and immediately what started playing? Durrum, durrum. And I started seeing sharks everywhere. They weren't, but I started seeing them everywhere. We've got to be careful of that little hysteria, the CNN thing, taking a pimple and making it into a volcanic eruption. We've got to be careful that we don't feed into it, because it's very easy that it can get its claws into you.
Yes. Yes, we don't have to play into the hysteria.
No,
but fear is a true tool, a tool that has helped our species survive the saber-toothed tiger, so that we have the spires that we have now.
Yeah.
And when we use that tool that our ancestors created in our brains, or evolution, however you want to put it, put those hormones into our brains so that we knew to turn and run. We can actually use the same tools, the same hormones to, okay, wait, I need to think, I need to figure out, and then filter. It's like, so that, okay, that one makes me feel really bad. Wait, this message over here, okay, they're making sense. Yeah, okay, but I feel better about that. We can figure out how to use the fear and get through what is actually true, and what is going to help us survive. And in the end, when we get through this, we're going to have a much better world.
Oh, yeah.
I just know it.
Yes, definitely. And this is why it actually needs to be extended at least to 18 months from beginning to end, because that's the only way the change is going to be able to take a grip. If we all go out now, we're going to forget about the last few months, and everybody's going to go out in crowds and do everything again. If it's constantly delayed, or it's going to be only half capacity restaurants and no big events and all of that, and it's going to be a slow integration over a good 18-month period, they might even say 2 years, then we're going to see our lifestyle change on all fronts. And so be patient. Be persistent. If you have got to shift and change and go into a different direction in your life, do it. Don't. There's a wonderful book called Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson, MD. And it's about Do you know it? It's a great book.
Yeah.
Two mice and two men over the cheese, and one day the cheese is gone, and it's the 4 different reactions. And I'm a true colors coach, so I have 4 different personalities reacting to the loss of the cheese. And some people right now are reacting to the loss of their freedom, or to the loss of what the norm was, and the others are sniffing and scurrying out new ways, and Whore is out there going, okay, I have to adjust to this, and Hem is like, I'm going to sue somebody, give me back. And those are the people that will get left behind, because change is inevitable. It's already in process, and if you don't change along with it, you will get left behind.
Yes, you definitely will be left behind.
Yeah.
And right now, relaxing and understanding that, hey, I don't need to have all of that stuff,
I also I just don't need to be in hate. I don't need to be in fear. I don't need to be in righteousness or entitlement. I don't need any of that, because what does that do? It puts you in a state of anger the whole time, a state of discord. What happens with that dis-ease? It creates disease. And then the body breaks down, the mind breaks down. We're asking people right now to have love, kindness, and caring for one another. And that is the energy that's going to get us through. And that, the self-discovery of the own love within yourself, the love that you can bring out to other people, that is truly the new currency of the world.
Yes, that is going to be the new currency, and that will be what the new economy will be all about.
Yes,
so.
I like that economy. I say to people, if you're going to make a shitload of money, that's fine, as long as it's done ethically and not on the backs of pain of others. But understand that it is other people that help you make that money. So what are you going to do to seed opportunities for other people? My landlady who still works, she's turning 87 in July. She still works as a demo woman. Well, her job has pretty well been obliterated, and she needed that money in order to stay in her own home, and just keep her head above water. Well, she applied, for the subsidy, and she's got that. And immediately she says, okay, I need to donate to the food bank, and I need to donate to an animal place, make sure animals are getting food. And automatically it's about, what can I do? How can I give back? And it's not necessarily the money, but it's knowing that she's been given the gift of this peace of mind, and she wants to pay it forward.
Yes. Paying forward is a really good step. So
yeah, what can we do for others? That really is the real gift that comes back to us, isn't it? When we've made a difference to someone else, when we've helped someone else, that really is the gift that you're getting. It's so warming to know that you've made a difference in someone else's life. And it's not about, oh, your ego, look what I did. It's about that person's life is better or shifted or is more positive because of an action that you took. And that is really the currency that we're talking about.
Yeah. And that currency has always been in existence before the paper stuff came about.
Yeah. Yes. The village was only as strong as everybody's participation, right? And I think we've lost our ability to have community. We'll go into a crowd, but we're in a crowd of mass hysteria or mass energy. We've forgotten how to have that simple folk fest of simple instruments in there where everybody is coming together and contributing in whatever way. And that's really where we're at. What is your contribution? So, my love, who have you got coming up for us in the future? How do people come on your show? Please do share all that information.
Well, it's kind of simple. There's a contact page at depictions.media. And
is that depictions.media.com? Or just
no, it is depictions.media. Yeah. I was lucky when I turned our blog into I had to expand it, and when I went to expand it and expand the subscription, it asked me if I wanted a domain name, and what was listed there was depictions.media. So all she had to do is remember Depictions Media, and it's there.
You're right.
So go to the contact page at depictions.media, or you can call me directly at 778-389-6948, and we'll figure out what it is that your story is and how you want to help people, and that gives us all the stepping stones to a wonderful conversation that will be aired and put out so that people can contact you and find out how you service our community.
Right. And your podcasts are just audio, not video as well at this point?
Yeah, they're all audio for right now. We will be, when this is all over with, we were building up some wonderful relationships where we can actually do some more video, and having some audiences sit in seats while the interviews were happening and everything. And so we'll get back to that. I guarantee that we were never going to have large audiences to begin with.
Yeah, intimate.
Very intimate audiences, but now I guess we'll have to space the chairs out a little better.
We adjust. Yeah. It's not about, I mean, I'm sure you get this. How many people listen to your show? And I always say this, all those that are ready to listen. And, we're like a library. We put out the information, and when you're ready to pick that book or pick that show, you're ready to hear what's in there and what the content is. We can't dictate who listens or who takes it in or who reaches out to someone once they've listened. We are a media company where we put out the media for other people to access. And that's all that we are. So how many people listen? All those that are ready to hear. And it goes out to our various platforms where there's a lot of listeners. But not every show is listened to by everybody, because it all depends on what is relative in their lives at the time.
Yeah, I've had some shows that before this had very few downloads and listened to, and then this all happened and people became interested. They wanted to hear what that was, and then at the same time, some of the shows that before this were very well listened to are not so listened to now, because people don't need that message. They need this message.
Yeah, exactly. So, we just keep putting it out. Your Depictions Media, and I'm selfdiscoverymedia.com. And I also have a questionnaire there too, and be our guest. I also have mentors, where you can become a mentor, a membership mentor. And so we do a why show on your why, the journey to why you're doing what you're doing right now. And we also do a show on what your services are, what your business is, and that's the Mentor Show. And the Mentors platform is slightly different. So whether people come in and see your services and then want to know your why, or hear your why and want to see your services, it's all there. And and it's about people. How can you serve them going through life, with the similar circumstance or similar situation of what they have gone through? And I have 18 different genres, so there's so many different platforms here, whether it's business, health, music, sensuality, children, mental health, you name it. It's stacks of it there. And it's all about us getting the message up. That's really what it is,
Yeah.
Mine is on our own self-discovery through listening to the journeys and the stories of other people and their skills and tools and wisdom that they now share with us. And my God, there's some people out there that have gone through an amazing journey, and who they are today and what they're doing today is absolutely extraordinary, isn't it?
Yes. There's some extraordinary messages out there. One person that I talked about earlier, Katherine Johnson, she has done everything that she has done with finding the silver lining to the obstacles, when her very first obstacle was at birth.
Yes.
Where her and her mother had trouble bringing her into the world, and she was deprived of air for a minute or two, and she now has cerebral palsy. But if she didn't have the cerebral palsy, maybe she wouldn't have the drive that she has to help people the way she does.
Yes. I've had the honor of interviewing a few people with that, and with multiple sclerosis, and people who have been burnt all over their bodies, and people with no arms, and people that are blind. A little harder, I can't do deaf people because, of course, they obviously can't hear you, and it makes it a little harder. But yeah, I mean, it just, when you hear their stories, one, Keshi was on America's Got Talent. She was burnt 65% of her body, and yet she still got out there and stood up, disfigured. She admitted herself and performed and just won the hearts of America and around the world. I've had the honor of interviewing her 3 times, and every time she leaves me with something extremely profound. And she's just a wonderful soul that, wasn't my time to die. I'm just going to do what I can do. And music is her way of getting through things, but at the same time of sharing her love of life. And so they always leave as a gift, don't they?
Yes, they do. Everybody I've ever interviewed, I have to say, one has been beautiful.
Yeah. We are the lucky ones because we get to interview them, and it's wonderful to cross interview with a fellow podcaster, because I know this is going to be on your show as well. And we're out there supporting one another, because again, we're building that library of wonderful information that are the tools and the wisdom to help other people on their own journey. So I'm grateful for the people that have come on, including you, and I know you're grateful for the people that have come on, and it's we're open to more illumination. Yes,
I'm so glad that we connected that first time we connected. I guess it was almost 2 years ago now.
Yeah. Yes. Please go back and listen to a show that he did with me back there. It's actually on his show page. So you just go selfdiscoverymedia.com/Michael Clogs, and it will come up his shows there, both shows, and listen to the journey that brought him to where he is now. And today, of course, was the lesson, the invisible lesson of COVID, and what we can do about it. They say God never gives us more than what we can handle. And this is the test right now. How much can we handle? And I think if we constantly look at things in gratitude, I am grateful that there aren't bombs everywhere. I'm grateful that this is, such a vicious virus like the plague, or, like a few others in the past that just whished through with the wind and just annihilated people. This is still manageable, and we can still be productive. And it really just comes down to our attitude and our gratitude.
Yes. And gratitude is a great attitude, right?
Yes, it is. Be grateful for what you do have and what you can do right now. Stop griping or whining about what you have had to give up. We've all, in that boat, we've all had to give something up. And it's like, just, let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Right? Because it's about the invitation for renewal. What can you do now? What are you seeding for tomorrow? What's this new world going to look like? And don't forget, you're a part of it. So what you do today is going to lay out the platform for tomorrow.
That's right.
Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you, Michael. This has been great having you on here again. Any final messages you want to leave with someone?
I am going to address one last thing as I thank you for having me. God doesn't give us any more than we can handle if we hold faith in everything that He has created.
True. Very true. That faith is that we're not in it alone. Whether we have anybody physically around us or not, we always have the beautiful energy of God, universe, spirit, whatever you want to call it, within us. We've got to understand that life is an inside job. This is the time to go in and switch that volume up, that vibration up, that trust and faith up, because it is what will lead you forward. So thank you, Michael, and to everyone else. Everyone out there, we've got your back, right? We've got your back. We're there for you. We're there for you, and we'll keep on bringing shows to you that are just going to inspire you or comfort you or educate you, or just, be there for you. That's what we're here to do.
Our job is to transfer the needed information to your ears.
Yes, exactly. And give you some solutions and tools and inspiration that begets an invitation for you to take with you on your path in life. So thanks a lot, Michael.
Thank you. You have a
And
great day.
you too, honey, you too. Until next time, folks, remember, change is not your enemy. It's your invitation. This is a time to get creative. It's a time to be in wonderment. What can you contribute? What can you change about your life? Because life is changing for you. Please adjust. Until next time, bye for now. We hope you enjoyed the show. We look forward to bringing you more shows. Please go to selfdiscoverymedia.com/shows and you will see the incredible lineup of genres and shows that we have for you. We are here to make a difference in your life. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening today, and we'll see you next time. And do stay safe and be healthy.